Am I the a-hole I insulted my wife in front of my family? I and my wife have been married for 8 years. She told me she wants to be a SAHW when we got married because she didn't like her job that much. I was okay with it since I earn enough for both of us. My mom had to drop out of school because she lost her parents at a young age, and she had to do manual labor to send her siblings to school. The Indian government then did not have any concessions for orphaned kids. She had the choice to either go to school herself or send her siblings to school. Because of this, she dropped out in 8th grade, 14 years old. Both her siblings got employed in really good companies and they took care of her since then until she got married. My dad passed away just 2 years after their marriage, and she had to take care of me on her own. Her siblings did help, but she worked 2 jobs along with that to support us both. Edit, herself and me. I was an only child. My father died while she was pregnant with me. Today we had a family get-together. My mom, her siblings, each of their kids and daughter, son-in-laws, grandkids, etc. After dinner, my wife said we needed to leave early because our kids have to go to basketball, swimming, and also private tuitions tomorrow. My kids were begging her to let them stay for a little longer. My mom asked my wife if they can miss 1 day of practice to spend time with family, since the kids also must have missed their cousins after not having met them for nearly a year. My wife retaliated, saying an illiterate woman wouldn't know the importance of education and extracurricular activities. My mom was clearly hurt and apologized for overstepping. I told my wife that literacy clearly hasn't taught her, my wife, basic manners. My wife got mad at me for insulting her in front of everyone and went back home with the kids. She's not even picking my calls or replying to my texts. Am I the a-hole?
Info: what is the relationship between your wife and mother like at other times? Have there been complaints prior to this incident from either of them? From your wife's reaction, it seems like there is bad blood between the two, so wondering what that is about. As another post points out, it sounds like your wife went for the jugular, which makes no sense at all, unless this was the straw that broke the camel's back and there is a history of abuse between the two. I grew up in an Indian household with typical Saas Bahu drama, and while as a kid I was brainwashed into taking my mother's side, as an adult, I look back and wish both adults had behaved like adults. NTA, I would never be okay with someone talking to my mum like that. I personally would end a relationship over it. I am not saying you should, I can't judge your relationship, only you can. And there are children involved, but I would urge you to let your wife know that this behavior will not be tolerated. Your mother had to drop out and worked all her life to provide for her loved ones. That deserves enormous respect and nothing else. Also, education does not equal intelligence or class, as your wife has so clearly shown here. I'm an Indian whose parents had to drop out of school for various reasons. They both had dreams that they never were able to fulfill, but they also worked their asses off to get where they are today. If anyone, and I mean anyone, said to my parents what your wife said to your mom, they would be hearing a lot more than a remark about their manners. You're 100% NTA, and I hope you can figure out what the hell is wrong with your wife, because that's not something anyone with half an ounce of brain goop in their head should say. NTA. Like every ever, your wife is really thin-skinned for someone who feels justified in saying really terrible things to other people. She was needlessly cruel and judgmental to your own mother, who stepped up and sacrificed so much, including her access to education to take care of her siblings and then of you, and only because she wanted to spend more time with her grandchildren and the rest of the family. It was really uncalled for, and your reply wasn't even on the same level of cruelty. She's angry because you insulted her in front of everybody. Okay, but why doesn't she see any problem with the way she insulted your mother first in front of everybody? What kind of monster says something like that? That's so incredibly insulting and uncalled for. Your poor mom, apologizing and thinking she overstepped when all she wants is more time with her grandkids. Not many things get to me, but her comment made me see red. Your mom is an absolute hero who worked hard to provide for your entire family. She deserves the utmost respect. I hope your wife apologizes to her sincerely because I can't imagine being able to say something like that to my Mil and not feel complete guilt and shame. You're right, literacy sure as hell hasn't taught her manners. Your mom deserves better and so do you. NTA. NTA, thank you for sticking up for your mother. I'm half Scottish, half Serbian. My Scottish mum's eldest sister was one of the smartest, kindest people I've ever known. She left school at 12 because her family needed her to earn. Her sacrifice kept the family going. One of her daughters and one niece became teachers. One nephew is a pharmacist. Another is one of the scientists who worked on COVID vaccines. All of her grandchildren are in education. My Serbian great-aunt was completely illiterate because peasant women of her generation were seldom educated. She was smart, funny, worked hard, helped put her grandsons through education. Her 3 great-granddaughters are all at university. 2 are doing PhDs. They are where they are because their great-grandmother worked so hard for the family. Bless your wonderful mother. NTA, I'm an Indian and I really respect your mother's sacrifice for her family. Not many mothers are like that. She is the textbook example of how special Indian women can be. She didn't even make any comments worthy of the poison your wife threw back at her. Your wife seems to be problematic. Ignore her attention-grabbing and fake hurt routine. Do right by your family but also don't tolerate nonsense against your mother, especially if she has not provoked it in the first place. It also seems like a power play. Your wife is trying to find the boundaries of how much she can control because she thinks she can bully your mother. Don't allow it. If she behaves like that with Mil in front of Op, imagine what she does behind his back. The truth in India is that divorce is almost unheard of, 1.3% divorce rate. The divorce laws favor the mother only till the child is 7, beyond that age, the father has a good chance of getting majority custody. A good idea would be to secretly record your wife's interactions with her Mil. That will sort her out permanently. NTA, normally I think spouses should support one another, but this was a case where your wife was 100% in the wrong. Ben Carson is a very famous neurosurgeon in the US, his mother was illiterate. And while she did very much encourage her son's education, she made him write her book reports regularly that she couldn't even read. She also knew that family time was important, too. There are studies being done on children right now, on how children don't get enough time to simply play, and how much harm it's causing. Having free time for imaginative play and valuable time spent with family is important in its own right, and a healthy work-life balance is critical for your children's mental health and well-being. Illiteracy makes someone uneducated, but it doesn't make them stupid, and wisdom is worth more than intelligence.